Mike Bohn here, joined by former UFC champ Rashad Evans, who returns to MMA Friday night at Eagle FC
Yeah.
44. Gabrielle Checco, man. Rashad, you are in the thick of fight week. Just did the press conference, just did the face off. How does this feel? Does it feel like old hat, or does this feel like something new?
It feels a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? It's been so long since I've done it, so it's kind of got a little of the newness of it, being in a new arena, new promotion, and everything like that. It kind of feels a bit a bit different, But for the most part, it kind of brings back a lot of old memories.
Yeah, man. And obviously, it's been a while since you fought, period. But when you were fighting, it was for the UFC for so long. Just to be like in a different organization, different people, different faces. Like, is that a big adjustment for you, or does this feel, is it exciting? Does it feel
It,
strange? How
it's
would you
it's it's
describe it?
it's exciting, a bit strange, but for the most part, it's pretty exciting. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be in the cage anyways. You know what I'm saying? So, cage is a cage, I guess. So that part will, I'm sure, feel very familiar, but it's a bit different fighting. Not with the UFC.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever fathom a day that would happen? That you would, regardless of what the circumstances would be, retirement, leaving, coming back, that you would have a fight in mixed martial arts outside of the UFC once you were kind of in and did everything you accomplished over there.
No, I never foreseen it, to be honest. I always thought that the UFC would be my final stop, but as I was into my retirement, I started to get that feeling again, and I was like, you know what? I mean, I definitely could fight somewhere else.
Yeah, and today, obviously, a little bit of intensity at the press conference. You guys have the face off. He makes his prediction and stuff. Like, I know over the years, your mental approach to everything in life has evolved a lot. So when you go up there, how would you compare how you digest the whole press conference exchanges, the face off, compared to maybe a few years ago, or early in your championship run, like things like that? How's it different now?
I used to be a bit of a hothead in those kind of situations, and I would have, I was fighting to try to prove something a lot, and I would have taken the bait. You know what I'm saying, the trash talking debate. But I mean, we fight Friday, so it is what it is. I mean, I'm glad that I know his intent. I'm glad he's coming out here to try to make a statement. That's great. It kind of it puts more on my plate, but at the same time, it's exactly what I wanted.
How do you prepare for this fight? Like, is it different than it used to be? No, I'm sure, there's different things you do in training, but I guess more so on the mental side. Like, do you focus at all about him because you face pretty much every different kind of opponent, every different kind of challenge? Like, what percentage of the camp goes into focusing on what Gabrielle Checco is going to do minus what you need to go in there and execute?
Having an understanding of what he likes to do and what he's capable of doing is always great and beneficial. But at the same time, I'm not overthinking what he does, because at the end of the day, um, what he's able to do is pretty much contingent on what I'm not able to do. So if I go out there and do what I need to do, then it doesn't matter what he's bringing to the table, because it's the name of the game is imposing your will. So I plan to impose my will on him.
I know you've talked a lot about the motivations for doing this comeback and other interviews and stuff, but I'm curious, going into Friday, what's like the benchmark for success in your mind? Is it winning by any means necessary? Is there certain things you want to do in this fight that either you feel you weren't able to do earlier in your career, or that just certain things on that side of it that you'll want to accomplish that certain benchmark, or is it simply winning?
Just simply winning, going out there and still proving that I can still do it, that I still got it, and still enjoying myself in the process. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm more mostly looking at there more than anything. I'm not trying to make this much more than what it needs to be on a mental scale. I just feel like as long as I'm bringing myself, along the way mentally and competing at my highest level, then I'm going to be good.
Yeah, and as you know, you're obviously a huge name on this card and everything. What do you feel about what Eagle FC is trying to do here? Obviously, there's Habib is involved. There's a lot of the dominance MMA related figures, going on with this event and everything. Is there, do you feel like this is something that's going to be a big addition to MMA for the long term in terms of the promotions we talk about consistently? What do you kind of get the vibes being part of this first stateside show? What the potential is here?
The potential feels huge. This arena is pretty spectacular, to be honest. This whole facility and the promotion, they do a really good job, and they've been doing some pretty good things. So I hope and I expect that this would be the beginning of something very special, and because at the end, I mean, because it's like you want to be able to have more competition and more options for fighters to fight, because that helps out the whole entire market. That helps out every organization when there's more opportunities for fighters to fight. So having another one and a good promotion like Eagle FC will be very good for fighters.
Yeah, and I feel like this is perfect. Like, there's no UFC event this weekend. I know there's a Bellator card on Saturday, but they couldn't have picked a better date in terms of like being able to get the attention. I know there's a lot of MMA media there who, if there was a UFC event, maybe wouldn't be able to travel to both and things like that. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of eyes on you and a lot of opportunity for the fighters on this card to get attention that maybe on a different weekend wouldn't come.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pick a great weekend, a great card as well. And some fighters who are who is hungry and want to prove something. So it's a recipe for something spectacular to happen.
For sure. Do you cut really any weight for this fight, or what's kind of the physical side?
I'm not cutting too much weight for this fight. I'm more of on the 195 scale. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, if they come out with a 195 weight class, that'd be where I'll best fit at. But it's my weight's pretty good.
Yeah, did you throw that out there, being like, "Hey guys, you're doing 165. Can you just do 195 for me?"
I mean, it makes sense. They're going up by 10-pound increments. So I mean, you gotta 155, 165, 175, 185. 195 is right there. I mean, there's a huge gap between 85 and 205.
Yeah, and I feel like now that's something that does make sense. Like, maybe 10 years ago, people would be like, "Hey, like 205 and 185 were maybe the thinner divisions if you wanted to call them that." But now
Right.
there's so many fighters, like that is such a huge gap. I feel it'd be good for the sport to have that division there as well, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of fighters who fit within the paradigm of being, you know, um, not really too big to compete at 205, but a little too heavy to go down to 185. So I feel there's a lot of fighters who fit in that mold.
For sure. And I'm curious, I just want to ask you one question. Seeing Glover Teixeira win the UFC light heavyweight title, I don't know if I've heard your reaction to that. What did you just make of that? And I mean, as his journey and everything, to see him do that at his age, does that motivate you? Does that inspire you? Does it just put a smile on your face because it's a former opponent and, a guy who's had a long journey? What's kind of the reaction?
It made me smile. I was really happy for Glover, and I was happy that he was able to go out there and do that. It was definitely inspiring as well too, because you're looking at a guy in Glover Teixeira who has modified his game. He's modified his game a few times over, and this modification that he did his last time around has made him a UFC champion. And he's not looking like an old guy. He's looking like he's looking very hard to beat. But he's out there. He's fighting as if like he knows where his bread is buttered at, and he knows how to make these fights. No matter how young these guys are, he can get these guys into his wheelhouse, and he can dominate them in his wheelhouse.
And I think that leads me perfectly to the last question. I mean, going off that, for you personally, what do you feel like you have to do here? Like, do you feel like, some of the things that you built your career off and had so much success with are going to be what leads you to victory in this fight? Do you feel like it's going to be the skills that you've added on, whether it's physically or mentally over these past few years, that you've been off? What's kind of going to be the key for you having that winning performance you're pursuing here?
It's going to be a combination of everything. I'm not the same fighter that I was, when I was a younger fighter, and I understand that. But I also understand that I bring different things to the table now, things that I consider better. So there's going to be a little mixing of the old, bringing some new, and just trying to make it go from there. But I mean, the confidence and mindset more than anything is the most important thing. Being able to bring your mind to compete at a certain level is my main focus.
Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate the time. You're a legend. I'm really excited to see you back here competing again. And I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in to see how you perform, man. So appreciate you taking the time so close to the fight and everything. And have a good rest of the week.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Take care.